Jack.
Never let go.
Don't let go, Jack.
Never let go.
There's not enough space on my giant door.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. My name is Eric.
It's Sean.
What's up, guys? Jorge.
Tonight we're doing the Titanic myth and legends.
Bah, bah, bah.
Everybody knows the story of the Titanic.
From watching the movie Titanic.
Yeah, thanks to Mr. Cameron.
And DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And Kate Winslet.
You know, there is the story of the Titanic as a whole, this is not necessarily a history podcast, but at the same time, there are a bunch of myths, legends, conspiracies, etc. about the Titanic that I thought would be a cool episode.
Indeed.
Let's do it.
So we'll do a quick little, what happened, for those people who've been living on, the moon.
True. Or the people that were living on the fake moon.
Yeah. Or those
Universal Studios.
those who are from Mexico, maybe.
Hey, even Mexico, we found out.
Yeah.
Yes. Or I can attest.
So March 31st, 1909, the construction.
Long ass time ago.
Yeah, over 100 years.
That's crazy.
The construction of the Titanic began with the building of the keel, which is the backbone of the ship, at a shipyard called Harland and Wolff's. And that's in Belfast, Ireland.
Ireland. The Republican Army.
Ireland.
For the rest of the show, you got to do it in Irish accent.
Oh, no.
And then the ship was built.
My Irish family hates my accent. It's the worst.
That's true.
They think it's
Because it sucks.
Yep.
Sorry.
So that's when they started construction on the Titanic, and it was delayed multiple times. Remember that. Write that down.
Multiple times
Write
delayed.
that down. It was delayed multiple times.
Just in the memory.
Noted.
Yep. So that was 1909. Then fast forward to May 31st, 1911. The unfinished Titanic is lathered.
Lathered it up.
Lathered up with soap and pushed into the water for fitting out. Fitting out is where you install all the extras. Some on the exterior, like the smokestacks, the propellers.
Just to make sure it's got to fucking float before you put all that shit on it.
Yeah, exactly. But they put like the electrical systems in, the wall coverings, the furniture, etc.
Okay, so it's all like the aesthetics.
It's the frame.
It's the aesthetic shit.
Yeah.
So
like
the bedding.
The bones.
Yeah. So obviously, aside from the name, it was called the Titanic. I mean, the Titanic. It was big, huge,
like a
massive Titan, the biggest thing on the water. Just to give you an idea of how big it was, the length of the Titanic was 269 meters.
That's fucking big.
Yeah,
Here we go again with meters.
That's like a super yacht, baby. That's like a
What
giant
did that
super
translate
yacht.
to?
By the
USA.
way, in Mexico, what do they do?
Everybody except the U.S. uses meters.
So in
Metric.
Mexico, they do.
Yeah.
They do meters.
Metric.
Oh, but you were like fuck that.
But you don't know it.
No.
You don't know.
Well, I mean, technically you grew up in Texas, so.
So
Yeah, I'm from over here.
That's USA, baby.
Was it South Texas, by the way?
South Texas.
Yeah, South Texas. All right. So that's 882 feet. Sorry. The width, the beam of the ship is the width of the ship is 92 feet.
Damn, that's fucking. Dude, that's
Titanic.
That's Titanic.
That's Titanic.
I like what you did right there.
So 104 feet is the Titanic's height, measured from the top of the bridge to the keel.
Okay, so
Yeah.
like
So there
top
are,
to bottom.
and then
Fucking
just
massive.
to give you an idea, there are 9 decks.
Wow.
Damn.
So 9 levels.
Well, you gotta think 100
Yeah.
feet. 100 feet's like it's close to 10 stories.
True.
Yeah, because each a story is what like 12 to 15 feet.
Yeah.
So.
It's big.
It's a cruise ship. I mean, it's huge.
It's like the first Royal Caribbean.
Yeah.
46,328 tons.
Wow.
I
how
mean,
big it
that's
was.
like
Yeah. Keep in mind, this
it's
is
like a fucking asteroid.
This is 1911.
I mean,
Man.
there was like Model Ts
I
and
know,
shit back
right?
then. Like,
This is like this actually helps my argument with the Egyptians building the pyramids.
yeah, except that was like
it's
No.
That was-
amazing what man can do.
yeah, except for that was thousands of years
Well,
ago.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, tit for tat.
Okay, what? Like, get the fuck out of here.
So
you realize that the weight of the pyramid is like it's like 600 million tons.
Yeah, but it's not floating on water.
It's floating on land.
Well, it's not. Yeah, ish.
Ish.
So 46,328 tons. Just to give you an idea, it had a sister ship named the Olympic. And
more on that later.
Yeah, more on that later. Definitely big time. But just to give you an idea, the Titanic was 1,300 tons bigger than the Olympic. Just to give you an idea.
I mean, no one could probably like discern that from looking at it. Yeah. You're like, that ship weighs 1,300 tons more.
Yeah. Now, this was an interesting fact. The largest room in the Titanic was 92 by 110 feet.
That's a penthouse suite?
Yeah.
That's the largest room. That's not very big.
I mean, 92 by what?
114 feet.
That's pretty big, bro.
Is it?
Are you kidding me? Have you ever been on a cruise ship?
No.
It's like 12 by fucking 16. It's not
12,
big.
But yeah. So 194
imagine like your regular room.
Is this like
14?
Are you saying like a room where you sleep, or just like a room?
Just
like,
a room, the biggest room.
It's probably like their.
I mean, let's just do the math. Let's just do the math.
So June 14th, 1911, the RMS Olympic departs on its maiden voyage.
Oh, the Olympics.
The Olympic.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a year. A year later, April 2nd, 1912, the Titanic leaves dock for her sea trials.
Oh, so they're still in Belfast, and they're like, is this bitch going to last?
Yep. So that's test of speed, turns, emergency stops, etc. So that's really only one day. They only do 1 day of tests.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Because that's enough for a thing that's going to be on the ocean for years.
Yeah. At about 8 p.m. after the sea trials, the Titanic heads to Southampton, England. Yep. So April 3rd to the 10th, which is another week later, the Titanic is loaded with supplies and the crew is hired. So April 10th from 9:30 until 11:30, passengers then board the ship. They were really on a deadline.
I mean,
literally, they hired the motherfuckers, and then the next fucking Monday.
Dude, this is like a pay-per-view. They sold the tickets and shit for you. Right. They're like, look, we don't even know if it's ready for sea. But that's right. Like, you're buying.
So the passengers board the ship. Then at noon, the Titanic leaves the dock for its maiden voyage. And this is when Jack and Leonardo DiCaprio is winning the ticket.
Well, Jack
in the poker game.
Is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. I mean,
same.
The first stop is Cherbourg, France, where the Titanic arrives at 6:30 p.m. and leaves at 8:10. It's only there for a little bit. Heads to Queenstown, Ireland, now known as Cobb.
Nice.
Okay, April 11th, which is the next day at 1:30, the Titanic leaves Queenstown and heads across the Atlantic for a little place called New York City.
It's a little pizza and baseball, baby.
Bagels.
Bagels, fuck yeah.
April 12th to the 13th, the Titanic goes on her journey as passengers enjoy their life as luxurious on the biggest ocean liner on Earth.
And it was also...
So they go to New York and pick up more passengers?
No. So they've left Queenstown to head across the Atlantic.
So
for the first 2 days, that's the point, is the first 2 days, it was like... and like living the dream.
Living it. They were killing it.
Living the dream.
And let it be known, the ship was built like a fucking howitzer. Like, I mean,
it's huge.
But it's built like a brick shit house. Like, it was meant to last. Like, you could just like hit that shit with a missile, and it's like totally fine.
And so for some reason, and this is, I read this many places. It in the press, it became known as the Unsinkable ship.
Yes.
Now the White Star Line or the Star Line, they said they never said that. Like later on, obviously after they
they're like,
sunk.
we're not liars.
After it sunk, they said no, we never said that term.
We never put the quotes on it. So that wasn't us.
But for whatever reason, the press latched onto that, and it was like a viral word.
Yeah, viral.
Some fucking shit.
Viral back in the 10s.
Yeah.
The 1910s.
Yeah. So fast forward a little bit to April 14th, 1912. And we'll start off in the morning. Captain Edward J. Smith canceled a lifeboat drill.
What a dick. Fucking asshole.
So 5:50. Yeah, we're good.
Canceled. He's like, I'm hungover.
We're good. So at 5:50 p.m., after receiving iceberg warnings throughout the day, Captain Smith changes the Titanic's course, heading slightly south. However, he does not slow her down.
This is like, man, there's like already mad red flags. It's like no lifeboat warning. They're like iceberg warning. It's like you're about to like take a flight and they're like, there's a hurricane happening right now. Like, well, keep in mind there's a change of course.
Keep in mind they're going through an area that is always iceberg.
That's true.
It's like the iceberg could be like the size of our cooler right here. So we're at 5:50 p.m. So fast forward to 9:20 p.m. 9:20 now. Captain Smith retires to his room. Okay. Then another ship, the Mesaba, sends a warning to the Titanic about an ice field that includes heavy pack ice and a great number of large icebergs.
All right.
Wireless operator Jack Phillips, who works for the Marconi Company, is handling passenger messages and never passes the warning on to the bridge.
Dude, it's just like, man. Like
9:40. That's 9:40 p.m.
They hired a bunch of fucking shitheads.
Yeah. So the shift changes on the bridge, right? With First Officer William Murdoch relieving the second officer, Charles Lightoller, which is a fucking rad name.
Lightoller, he's like a Jedi.
My name is Charles Lightoller.
Sounds like Emperor.
As the officer of the watch. So Murdoch relieved second officer Charles, okay? So lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee begin their watch in the Titanic's crow's nest. The night is unusually calm, making icebergs actually difficult to see because there are no waves breaking at the iceberg. So if it's extremely
they can
calm,
see like the white caps like hit.
They go pop,
pop,
pop, pop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's also like pitch black. And I don't know if you've ever been at sea at night. It's like it's like you're in space.
Yeah.
It's just like
it's
pure
the
black.
blackest of all black.
Like there's no light.
So adding to the problem is the crow's nest. And this is absolutely absurd to me. The crow's nest misplaced their binoculars.
Dude, this is like
what's a crow's nest?
That's like the thing at the very top. That's like
bridge.
the lookout.
Like
No, it's a
So
lookout.
the bridge is where the captain is and where like the wheel is and you know
the crow's
everything.
nest is the one all the way at the top.
Because the very top
looking
is
out.
of the best. Their job is to basically just watch everything that's happening.
Right.
That's why they call it the crow's nest, because the crow will make its nest up high so it can see any predatory. It can just like see
Makes
everything
sense.
in its area.
Yeah. So like of all the things that you would want in the crow's nest, it would be binoculars. Do you know what I mean? Like of all things,
it's like
that's what you need.
The Uber driver forgot his car and like showed up at your house.
It's absolutely absurd. So, but all the information says is that they just misplaced them. The binoculars.
Okay,
I
would love to know who gave this intel. You know, because this ship is on sea and it's at the how the fuck they know where they misplaced it? It's at the bottom of the ocean.
I know.
I would love to know who recorded this.
Yeah. So at 10:55 p.m., a ship that was nearby called the Californian radioed the Titanic and they said, "Say, old man, we are stopped and surrounded by ice." An annoyed Phillips responded with, "Shut up. Shut up. I am busy. I am working Cape Race," which is a wireless station located at Cape Race, Newfoundland, Canada.
I don't understand what just happened. He's working
a wireless. Like he's talking to them.
He's talking to them. He's in the middle of something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. 11:35 p.m. The wireless operator of the Californian turns off his radio because he's going to bed. Fleet sees an iceberg in the Titanic's path and rings the bell 3 times to indicate that something is ahead.
Iceberg.
Iceberg ahead.
He then calls the bridge.
And they're like all passed out.
Murdoch orders the Titanic hard to starboard, which means to the left. Right? And then the engine's reversed. So he says hard to starboard, and the engine's reversed.
Yeah, full reverse. Like let's get this bitch stopped.
He also closes the doors to what is known as the watertight compartments, which are underneath. Right? Okay, good. So 11:40 p.m., 5 minutes later, the starboard side of the Titanic scrapes along the iceberg. Captain Smith then arrives on deck and is told that the ship has struck an iceberg. Shortly thereafter, he is informed that the mailroom is filling with water. Other reports soon come in of water at least 5 of the ship's compartments.
Oh, shit.
Which is essentially about half.
You're fucked.
Right? The designer of the ship, his name is Thomas Andrews. He surveyed the damage, and the Titanic was built to remain afloat with only 4 of those compartments flooded. Andrews predicts then that the ship has only about 1 to 2 hours before it will sink.
It's like there's like they can't.
It's like it's going down.
It's like too much weight, and then like dude, you're fucked.
Yeah. So then we cross over into midnight, which is April 15th.
Dude, the fucking witching hour.
So the lifeboats begin to be readied for launch. The 20 boats have space for only 1,178 of the passengers, of which on board are 2,200 passengers.
Genius. We're only going to have lifeboat capacity for half the motherfuckers. Fucking idiots.
So an order is given for women and children to board first, with crewmen to row and guide the boats. So there's probably like 2 crewmen per boat, and then women and children, and then
so it's like if you're on crew, you're like yes.
Yeah. As far as who gave that order, nobody really knows.
A good dude. It's a smart play.
Yeah, it's probably Smith.
Yeah,
right? Or Murdoch.
Yeah, like save
one of them.
You got to save the women and children, bro. It's just the way it is.
So then Captain Smith orders Phillips and Harold Bride to send out a distress signal. Although SOS became the official distress signal years later, many used at that time something called CQD. So CQ.
Currently, fuck.
So at
We're
that
currently
time,
fucked.
Currently
Send somebody.
it's basically SOS. It's basically SOS. So
Yeah.
CQ actually meant like a general call for anybody.
Okay, call query. Fucking,
Something like that.
Like distress.
And then D meant distress.
Yeah, call query
Captain
distress.
Sean.
Yes.
Yeah. Fucking.
So over the next several hours, Phillips will send out both alerts, basically. The Frankfurt is among the first to respond, and that's a ship, but the liner is 170 nautical miles away.
Dude, you're fucked.
To the south.
You'll never make it in time.
Other ships also offer assistance, including Titanic's sister ship, the Olympic.
Oh, just happened to be in the area.
But also too far away, the Olympic. The Carpathia receives a distress signal from the Titanic, and it says, "Come at once, we have struck a berg. It's a CQD, old man." That's what it says. The Cunard liner immediately changes course to aid this ship some 58 miles away. It will take the Carpathia 3 hours to arrive.
Wow.
4th Officer Joseph Boxhall, tasked with determining the Titanic's position, revises the coordinates. The location is now given as 41, 46, 50, 14 in the distress signals. Passengers waiting to enter lifeboats are entertained by the Titanic's musicians who initially play in the first class lounge before eventually moving to the ship's decks.
The classic contain the madness.
Yeah. So sources differ on how long they performed, but most basically say that it was until they went down. None of the musicians that were doing it survived.
It sucks.
All right, so 12:45 at night now.
Shit's ticking by.
Okay, number 7 on the starboard side is the first lifeboat that's lowered down. It carries 27 people, even though it has room for 65.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. That was the
Only got
first
room for the
lifeboat.
1%ers.
I mean, you're kind of like
It's
frantically.
like rich only.
No, I mean, I'm assuming it's like you're frantic and you kind of just like get all crazy.
launch it,
Just go, 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 go. You know, like that whole thing. I'm guessing many of the first lifeboats will be launched well below capacity, partially because of the crewmen's worry that the divots would be unable to hold a fully loaded lifeboat. I don't know why they were worried about that.
Well, because they didn't do the lifeboat check.
Yep.
Yes, they
Before
didn't do
they
the
didn't
drills.
do the drills. They're like, uh-oh. These pulley systems are looking a little sketch.
In addition, a majority of the passengers thought the Titanic was unsinkable.
So they're like, why do we have lifeboats?
So they're like, literally, I don't want to be the first lifeboat out of here.
You're fucked.
Literally, I'm going to be on the ocean while homies are like sipping champagne in the violin playing. You know what I mean? So I'm, anyways. So
it's also like these lifeboats are for show. They're actually not real
that's right.
lifeboats.
So Titanic fires the first of 8 distress rockets, of which they thought They were like fireworks, basically.
Someone can see them. They're like,
Yeah. So apparently the other ships that didn't know that was happening, they just saw fireworks and they're like, "Yeah, party."
It's a party.
they're like, wish I was on the fucking Titanic.
Rager Titanic going on. Yeah.
It's
It was
so
crewmen aboard the Californian see the rockets, but failed to determine their source. They thought it was the Titanic. The Californian will later be believed to be about 20 miles away.
Jesus.
Although there was, per a couple of reports, a mystery ship that just never
It's like
came.
the Black Pearl.
Well, some thought
The
it was.
Olympic.
Yeah, well,
Olympic.
here's one theory: is that the ship was a Norwegian fishing vessel that was illegally hunting.
Oh, so they're like, I don't see anything.
So they're like, well,
see nothing
we're
yet."
not going to do a rescue mission and then just go to jail.
Or they're like clubbing seals
Yeah,
and shit.
exactly. So 12:55 a.m. Number 5 is the second lifeboat leaving the Titanic. As it's lowered, 2 male passengers jump into the boat, injuring one of the females. Number 6 is launched, containing Molly Brown. She was
Who's that?
she's like a famous person. She was like new Texas oil money. She was considered the unsinkable Molly Brown because she was the one who was like, go back for more, different things like that. She's just like a famous little story in the Titanic.
Okay.
Also, the lookout guy who had no binoculars, he was in that boat. So he
He
jumped
got
in
out
there. Yeah.
Damn.
on the slide.
Yeah.
So we're past the women and children only.
I mean,
This is the
it's
second
almost
boat.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
I know. It's almost 1 a.m., but
But this is like the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
It's like, like
Totally.
only the fittest survive from this,
Yeah.
to this point. Like,
so number 3 is lowered at 1 a.m. It carries 39 people.
Jesus, another under.
12 of those people were crew members. Okay. Water is seen at the base of the grand staircase at this point. So, water is really coming in.
Yeah, Road's like
basically.
raging in there. It's like-
1:10 a.m. Number 8 is among the first lifeboats lowered on the port side. It's launched with only 28 people. Isidore and Ida Strauss, very famous couple.
They sound rich.
They were offered seats in the boat. However, they refused to disobey the order of women and children first. Ida, in turn, will not leave her husband's side, reportedly saying, where you go, I go. Neither of them survived.
Dude, that's a ride or die right there.
Yeah. 1:20 a.m., number 10 is launched. Among the occupants is 9-week-old Melavina Dean, who will become the last survivor of the Titanic.
Oh.
She died in 2009 at the age of 97. So
Oh,
there
damn,
are
she
no
lived,
more.
She lived a good life.
Yeah, there are no more people who were on the
Oh, they're all
Titanic.
dead.
They're all died. She was the last one.
Yeah.
The Olympic radios the Titanic at 1:25, and it seems like they didn't realize like the magnitude of the situation.
Oh, they thought the distress signals were like a joke?
I guess they just didn't really get it.
It's like prank
So
calls
the
in
Olympic-
1912.
So the Olympic says, "Are you steering southerly to meet us?" At 1:25 a.m.
They're like,
Bitch,
no,
there ain't no
bitch.
steering going on.
We hit a
So
fucking
no,
thinking.
like, dude, like we're out.
We hit a continent of
Yeah.
ice, and like, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Like,
So the Titanic responded. The radio guys responded saying, "We are putting the women in the boats."
why can't they be more specific? We're fucked. We're sinking, bro.
Well, this is like,
oh, like Morse
yeah,
code.
yeah. Well, no, not Morse code, but
That's what we
That's
call
Morse
Morse code.
But no, there's
Yeah.
a word.
Yeah, it's called Morse code. It's
Telex? No, it's
No, it's Morse code. Is what the word is. They weren't
FaceTime.
They weren't texting back then.
Fucking live streaming.
I know, like you hit them. It was actually Instagram Messenger.
So. Also, at that time, number 12 boat is lowered, half full.
Dude, they suck. Like you get like this crew is just super,
chaos, though.
super
It's
inept.
chaos. The boat's going down.
No, I understand, but like you
Yeah,
can
but-
see that there's like a lot of space left. If you could fit 60 people and
Exactly.
there's 30 people on the boat, like
Yeah.
you can just see that more people can go
Yeah.
on the boat.
At 1:30, things are getting real cray-cray.
Oh yeah.
Several male passengers try to board number 14, causing the officer Harold Lowe to fire his gun 3 times. He's later placed in command of the boat. After the sinking of the Titanic, Lowe will transfer people into lifeboats 4, 10, and 12 in collapsible D so he can return later to look for survivors. His boat is basically the one that went and saved about 4 or 5 other people.
Oh, that's good. Hey, good guy.
Yeah. Number 13 is launched and soon followed by 15, which holds many of the. Now we're starting to get into third class passengers.
Yeah, like the scrubs.
Yeah, they start getting into the boats. 13 and 15, 135. 16 is launched. For whatever reason, at 1:45 a.m., number 11 is lowered. Number 4 is finally ready for launch, which is the Astor family. The Astor family are the wealthy ones. Have you ever heard of John Jacob Astor?
I think so, but
Very wealthy individual. One of the richest people on earth.
oh, that was the guy. Okay, yeah, he was like one of like the 1910s. Like, you're like so like a fucking trillionaire. Like
Which is one of the conspiracy theories on that is the passengers that were on there. We haven't even gotten into that yet.
oh yeah, we're gonna get into that.
So at the time, John Jacob Astor was worth roughly $87 million, which in today's standards, that's $2.5 billion.
Yeah, but like back then, like nobody had like you were like top like 0.3% of like the universe.
So he went down though eventually with the ship. So he died. So anyways, they had a chance to get into the boat, but they didn't.
Why didn't they do it?
Because Second Officer Lightoller told them women and children only.
Yeah, yet there's like hella dudes like in the
But
all the boats.
Astor never really pressed the issue, and he just walked away. Apparently,
He's probably he was like, yeah, whatever. I'm fucking. I lived it. Like fuck it. Like he's like, I owe a lot of money in taxes.
So 2 a.m. 2 a.m. only lifeboats that remain on the Titanic are 3 collapsible boats. The Titanic's bow has sunk low enough that the stern's propellers are nearly visible outside of the water.
Yeah, so that's when that's before it breaks in half.
Yeah.
Like because it's the weight is just gonna snap that shit like a twig.
Yeah. So at 2:17 a.m., Philip sends the final distress signal. He reportedly makes it to the overturned collapsible lifeboat B, but succumbs to exposure. His body was never found.
Oh, so you got like cold and that fucking
he's
frigid Arctic water.
Yeah.
He's like toast.
So at 2:18 a.m., the lights go out.
oh fuck that
Damn.
guy. Then it's like
dark.
Then it's
Shit's getting real.
pure.
Can you
chaos.
imagine that?
It's pure
Oh my
chaos. You're in
Honestly,
pitch
that
black,
sounds horrible.
freezing water.
Horrible.
Dude. It's like a nightmare.
As the Titanic's bow continues to sink, the stern rises higher out of the water, placing great strain on the midsection, and the ship snaps into 2. And reportedly later on, it was said that it took 6 minutes for it to fully crack and reach the bottom.
So it's just like, and like you can just hear. You imagine like being on the boat and you hear that like the fucking stress break, like,
Dude.
oh god,
Terrifying.
and you're at like a fucking 70-degree angle at that time. Like you're just like, dude.
So the stern at 2:20 a.m., the stern disappears into the ocean. The Titanic disappears. Hundreds of people are in the freezing cold water. Although there is room in most of the lifeboats, crewmen are fearful that the boats will be swamped. So several of the boats eventually return, but hours later, so it's too late.
Damn.
That was a calculated move.
Yeah.
They didn't want anything else on those
Over
boats,
the next
right?
several hours, numerous ships try to contact the Titanic, but obviously it's at the bottom of the ocean at this point. The Burma's wireless operator sends a message saying, steaming full speed ahead to you shall arrive to you at 6 a.m. I hope you are safe.
And what time is it right now?
2:20.
It's all right, dude. Just hold out for another 4 hours.
So
brother.
at 3:30 a.m., which is another hour and 10 minutes later, the Carpathia arrives in the area, and they start firing rockets. Number 2 lifeboat is the first to reach Carpathia at 4:10 a.m.
I wish I was on that boat. Jesus.
So it's going to take a few hours for the ship to actually pick up the survivors. Ismay, who's the designer of the ship, or not the designer, but the head of Starline, basically, he writes a message to be sent to the White Star Line office saying, deeply regret, advise you, Titanic sank this morning, 15th after collision iceberg, resulting serious loss. Further particulars later. 8:30 a.m., the Californian, which at approximately 5:30 a.m. learned of the Titanic sinking, they arrive. So 3 hours later. It searches the area for several hours, but fails to find any survivors.
Fuck.
At 8:50 a.m., the Carpathia, carrying 705 Titanic survivors, heads to New York City, which will arrive on April 15th.
Dude. Fuck.
And that's the story of the Titanic. Basically.
Man, like seriously, this is a lesson to all of you. Hire good staff, like because man, like there's as many things that have went afoot on the
Ignored that. Yeah. That should have been.
So 705 people survived. There were
How many were?
2,200 passengers.
Wow.
and lifeboats could have fit.
Passengers. That's not even the crew, right? So there's more people on there.
No, I think that includes
2,200 total.
I
Okay.
think like people.
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
2,200 people.
But then like the lifeboats could have held like what, 1,200?
1,700.
1,700. Wow, this is like a
So they
massive
missed out
fail.
by a good.
1,000 people could
Yeah.
have survived.
Yeah,
1,000
if
more
they max
people.
capacity it. Yeah. So here are some of the top, I guess, conspiracies or legends of the Titanic.
The legend.
One of which is considered, I guess they call it the Olympic insurance scam.
Here we go.
Yeah. So the Olympic was the sister ship of the Titanic. That was put in service in 1911. In 1911, she actually smashed into another ship.
Holy shit.
Idiots.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even happen?
Both ships were badly damaged. The accident was a absolute financial disaster for White Star Line because they
Yeah.
crashed into each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were found to be liable for the accident and had to pay for the damages of both ships.
Oh, God. That's so much money.
Legal fees, court cases, et cetera, et cetera.
Plus, it's banged up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
plus you can't make money off it.
Repairs on the Olympic took 2 months, and the parts that were used to repair it were from the Titanic.
Wow.
So do you remember at the beginning I said it was delayed? The building of the Titanic
because
was
they were
delayed.
like, yeah, we need the propeller.
Because
bro.
yes, they used parts to repair that were slated for the Titanic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So the Titanic's getting like the China parts.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know.
So another incident that happened a few weeks after being returned to service, after using the Titanic's parts, is one of the propellers just literally broke off.
Damn.
And those propellers are like the size of a house.
Yeah, just
They're
popped
giant.
off.
Like,
So once again, the Titanic was used as replacements.
so the Titanic's like an organ donor. They're just giving up all the juice.
So the Titanic was finally finished and ready to leave port on April 10th, 1912, having been delayed while the new parts were made and delivered to replace the ones for the Olympic. She first went to France, blah, blah, blah. You know the whole story. We just went through it. But the Olympic went on to have a 24-year career as a successful ocean liner. She served during the war, World War I, where she earned the nickname Old Reliable for her impenetrable hull. And then in 1999, she was re-outfitted to a civilian passenger ship and served as an ocean liner until 1935, where she was retired. But the conspiracy theory here is that the Titanic never sunk.
There it is.
Instead, the RMS Olympic was disguised as the Titanic in an insurance scam by her owners, of which was controlled by American banker J.P. Morgan. So the idea here is that, and also a side story about J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan was supposed to be on the Titanic.
Exactly.
But the day before it, he was like, nah, I'm cool.
I actually heard that
And
it
he
was
peaced out.
like a couple hours before.
Really?
A couple hours before takeoff.
That's what I heard,
And he was
too.
like,
Yeah.
you know what? I think I'll pass.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the train.
He's like, I had Taco Bell late last night. I got the shits.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good for me right now.
Did you guys ever read like why he like why he didn't go? Like, did he
Uh,
say ever why he didn't?
Well, he never. I didn't ever read like what his excuse was, but I know like I read about like potential reasoning behind him not
I see.
going and
But
why.
he's not on
Yeah,
record
same.
saying like,
No,
I just
yeah, it wasn't
Didn't
like
want
I
to,
have
no.
like a prior engagement or.
yeah,
There's just another conspiracy theory about that.
yeah, gotcha.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So a couple pieces of information about this concept, I guess, is when the Titanic sank, the White Star Line received €1 million in insurance.
Insurance, yeah.
And the Titanic and the Olympic were sister ships, so they looked extraordinarily similar.
Right.
Super similar.
Like
Now, this is a
virtually the
podcast,
same.
so it's very hard to show, but a lot of the evidence is based on imagery. And
Yes.
like it looks so much similar.
It's looks like almost identical, and it'd be very easy just to like slap a coat of paint on the back
Yeah.
and say like Titanic.
Yeah. And there's a couple of arguments that even certain portholes are like placed, and why would they change them mid-construction?
Makes sense.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And also, it's like, people may say, like, well, we've explored the Titanic. It's on the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, it's been on the bottom of the ocean for a fucking long time. So you put a ship in a pool of acid for 50 years, shit's not going to look exactly as it did,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when it was made.
But question for you. So I did look this up, and it cost, like, to build it. I was like, how much did it cost to build it?
Yeah, it's $1 million in payout.
Yeah. So it cost to build it $7.5 million.
Oh, so they only got $1 million on the. Well, I guess it's like you're cutting your losses at that point. You're like, fuck it.
So
like,
that's the weird part. So if they received $1 million in insurance money, which is $89 million in today's money, by the way.
so much.
By the way, we should have invested in 1912.
Seriously, like.
Just in currency.
I know, right? Just in anything. Yeah,
That's
like
an
literally-
89 increase.
The
Are you
US
kidding?
dollar, USD.
Why didn't anybody tell me that? If you just put money there and you just save it,
Yeah, you just
your
don't
inflation,
use it.
yeah,
Inflation
it works
is
out.
crazy.
Yeah.
Just put it in your Roth account. It's gonna be like fucking so much.
So anyway, so there you go. So JP Morgan financed the parent company for this. So
There are other things. I don't know if this is one of the points you're going to bring up, but in
Mhm.
terms of like who was on the ship
Mhm.
and why JP
Mhm.
Morgan
Mhm.
might have, as opposed to just insurance money, it could have been, to eliminate some of his competition in terms of the
Yeah.
passengers.
So the
Yeah, we're going
next-
to get into that passenger
So the
list?
next one, and it's not very much into it, but it's close to it, which is that it was a murder plot.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
like,
to
it was a murder plot.
delete people from the scene so he could
Yeah.
just dominate.
So also that he wanted to create something called the U.S. Federal Reserve.
Yep.
So that's a big
I never heard
big
of that.
conspiracy,
Oh,
right?
that's another podcast right there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
his rivals or his other millionaires, I guess. I mean, I don't know if like, do you consider somebody else who's rich like your rival? I don't really.
No, I think there was other, like some of the people on the ship, obviously,
Well, it depends
yes,
what they
but
do.
while being
Yeah.
rich, were and also very similar. I think there was other banking people who
Yep.
who were there, as
Yeah.
well as people who were like financiers for his potential competition.
Yeah.
which
So
is why
John Jacob Astor,
There you
we
go.
talked about him.
Yep.
Benjamin Guggenheim.
yeah, Guggenheim was super
Guggenheim
rich.
was super
Guggenheim
rich.
was the richest dude
Yeah.
on the fucking boat. He's the richest motherfucker. Like
Huge.
yeah, massive.
Yeah.
rich.
Just the billionaire guy?
Yeah, Guggenheim
With
was like,
today's money.
Yeah. in
no.
today's
Dude,
money.
I'm gonna look up how much he was worth. It was a lot.
There's also the founder of Macy's,
Yep.
which is Isidore Straus. Guggenheim and Straus apparently went down with the ship, and then John Jacob Astor's body was in fact recovered later. Anyway, so that's one of the theories, you know.
Well, if you want to take out your competition, that's one way to do it.
Right?
Yeah, but actually, as I say that, like they weren't like you to your point, they're not really competition, right? They weren't like bankers, were they?
Well, I mean, they're very rich individuals with a
Yeah.
lot of sway and investments, and
So is that a competitor?
but I don't know why the founder of Macy's would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean that doesn't seem
That
like
one seems
yeah.
a little bit of a stretch.
Right, exactly. As far as competitors, because
Yeah.
why it makes sense that he was on there, wasn't it? Like,
But maybe John J. Astor.
true, because this was supposed to be like
He was a billionaire.
the ship to be on, the party, the
Unsinkable
event
Yeah.
to be on.
Yeah.
It's like the top of the top.
Right. Well, then it gets into a really weird theory. You want to hear it?
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
This is the cursed mummy.
Oh yeah, baby.
Motherfucking cursed mummy theory. So the Titanic supposedly sank to its grave carrying a cursed mummy. The mummified Egyptian princess Amun-Ra, of which she left a trail of devastation across England in the 1900s after being excavated and moved. So it's really funny because there's all these weird stories. She was excavated, and then all, like the Black Death of Plague, and then like this trail.
It's
of,
probably like the
horribleness.
actual. That's like the real one. That's like
Yeah.
the truth. It's like
Yeah.
she was like,
Yeah.
I love this water. Fucking bring it down.
Yeah.
That's the theory right there.
She stole the binoculars.
So that's a weird theory. There was a guy named Charles Haas who somehow accessed the ship's manifest in '85 when they actually found the ship, and there was no mummy in the manifest. But that's really all of the information I have on the mummy.
So we're gonna rule the mummy out.
Yeah, that one was a little tough. Not a lot
Pass
of
on that
evidence. Another theory, and this one might actually hold some weight here. Ismay and the designer of the ship and White Star Line wanted to, for press reasons, PR reasons, wanted to break the record of speed
think I've
across
heard
the
this.
Atlantic.
Oh, so they were like,
Yeah.
fuck
They're
the,
like
fuck the icebergs, bitch.
Dude,
Like,
can you
let's do-
imagine like the first voyage of the Titanic? We also break the speed record
yes.
of crossing the Atlantic. Push it, bro. Push it.
Yeah.
Get it.
Full
Go win.
speed ahead.
So,
That was the best thing I've ever heard.
but but that shades or that puts a dirty light on Captain Smith
No, but
because he was jeopardized 2,200 people just to break protocol and just you know what I mean?
People have done a lot worse for
Yeah.
similar, if not less,
Yeah.
of a reason, because they're told
Yeah.
to. I mean, look at
Yeah, it's like he has the pressure. You know?
Yeah.
It's like
Dude,
It's like sales.
yeah.
Eric, and we dropped
my
2
manager.
nuclear weapons on Japan when they were like about to give up, anyways, and we just wanted to test them. So we literally dropped 2 nuclear weapons, killing like 5 million people because we wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah.
When you drop the nuke on them.
Well, a couple things that lean towards that, like that help that argument is word was that it was Smith's last voyage as a captain. He was going to retire. And so, like kind of
Dude, like you want to go out with
I wanna,
you want to go
I
out with
know.
a bang?
Yeah, like I want to like
solidify your name.
Yeah, I want to go down as a legend.
He
I don't know.
did. He went down with the ship as a legend.
It also didn't help that Ismay jumped on the last lifeboat to leave the Titanic, while 75% of the third class people were drowning.
Dick.
The captain's body was never recovered, and his final moments were unknown.
He's probably like
Going down with the ship.
at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, another whiskey.
Those are the
With
main
the violin people.
So those are the main conspiracy theories about the Titanic.
Well, I like the one that talks about, JP Morgan taking out his competition.
Dude, because JP Morgan was a first class piece of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, my
Was
God.
he?
Oh, dude, are you kidding me?
I don't know.
Dude,
I
JP
feel
Morgan
I feel like okay, but hold on. Of all the people on Earth in the history of mankind, who has the most conspiracies attached?
I don't know.
Of all the people on Earth?
Yeah, like who is assumed to have a conspiracy? it's probably J.P. Morgan's in the top 10.
Trump.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, of all the
Kennedys.
people, like, he's probably in the top
Kennedy.
10 of people associated with conspiracies.
Well,
Like,
because
because he's just rich as shit.
Yeah,
no, it's
exactly.
not just because he's rich as shit. Just how he became rich as shit.
Rich
Like,
and power. Okay.
Well, no, because J.P. Morgan purposely destroyed the financial system of the U.S. in order to make a centralized
saying.
banking system.
Federal Reserve. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, he did,
Yeah.
and he did, and it was. It's not
I
like
need
I'm.
an episode about
It's not
that.
like I'm faulting
I know.
him. It's not
dude,
like I'm
it's
faulting
the
him
gold
for it.
standard and like
But it's
Roosevelt.
like it was genius. Like what he did was actually genius. So
there's a
like,
website. Speaking of the gold
his
standard,
standpoint.
yeah, from his standpoint, it's a dick move, but it's like
I was doing some research from some other episode and about something came up about the gold standard. There's a website out there. It's called what WTF happened in 1971.com. Need to check this shit out.
Interesting.
It's
Is that
fucking
is
interesting.
that
has nothing.
Nixon?
It only
Is
has
that Nixon
stats.
time period?
That's the date that they went off the gold standard.
Yeah, that sounds like Nixon era. Sounds like a
Has
Nixon thing.
nothing but stats of just shit that you'll see. Like let's say the stats on women working like double household income or whatever, or women only working and not men not working. I don't know, all kinds of shit.
just
all
like
kinds
random
of shit.
statistics. Like
Well, an
That's
interesting,
another
an
episode.
interesting part is
statistics are truth, man.
is in the Roosevelt actually created the. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. That's like a whole other thing. Like Roosevelt started it, and then it went to that. And anyways, it's a whole other.
That's
It's
definitely
nuts.
on our list.
So, anyways, those are the theories. I don't know where you're at.
My thing is like, look, I mean, it's unfortunate, and like, look, I also want to be super rich and billionaire baller,
Yeah.
but like, I'm just gonna like throw a random number out. Most likely 80 to 90% of like the billionaires, especially back in that time period, was like the fucking Wild West, and like there was no like regulations on shit. You could do what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
They were mostly not like savory humans.
Yeah.
Like, they were like fucking ready to slice your fucking throat out just to get ahead. And I can see J.P. Morgan like making a tactical move from his standpoint, probably like the smart move business wise, not human wise, being like, I can get a little cash back for my fuck up with the
So you think
Olympic.
they're all connected?
That's a big.
You think there's the insurance part and the murders? All of them?
I think it was.
Holy shit. all of the conspiracy.
No, I think it was an easy play, and he got the mummy afterwards.
Yeah, but see, what's confusing
So he
to
just
me
takes
about
out
that?
2,200 people.
I know, but
Damn.
and also they could have survived.
That's true.
Like that's so risky. And then
So
they're
what,
like, he made it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
why don't you just poison him in his loft?
No, because then if it crashes, you still have to get the insurance money. If they live, he's like, okay, fine, it was worth a try. At least I get the milli. At least I get the milli. You know, like
worth a shot.
yeah. At least he gets the milli because I think the main thing was like, okay, cool. I need a little like, it's like damage control for his investment.
Man.
He's an investment guy. And like investment guys like that, they only think in the return. So he's like, okay, if I can cut my losses by, a 10%, that's a fucking win. That's a huge win, dude. Massive win. It's 89 fucking $1 million in today's money. He's like, sweet. And I get to lose a couple of my competition to fucking win-win, bitch. Like, crash that bitch.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, I'll set the course. Trust me.
Yeah.
Like,
Go straight here. This is iceberg B.
dude, this iceberg is...
And make sure you take the binoculars out of
All
it.
right.
Exactly.
Jorge, where are you at on it?
I am. That's a big conspiracy. I don't know that he could pull that off.
Right?
You know?
That's so many variables.
No, but also
Yes.
too, it's like my thing is like the way I think about it is like, okay, so the hull is so fucking strong, dude, super fortified, thick ass steel, probably like 3 feet fucking thick, this beast mode, and like it hits a giant piece of ice. Like, I understand. I know it's like huge, but I'm like
a mountain.
that shit. Yeah, it's like a mountain. I get it, but it's like that's gonna rip through like it's just gonna just shred through it like fucking butter. And they're not. It's not that they're on like a fucking speedboat. I mean, they gotta be going like they're not going like that fast. They hit like full reverse. They're not going like super fast. I'm like, how does it? I never understood that to me. Yeah. Because obviously with modern engineering, it's like, okay, you take a tank and you like run it into an iceberg. It's not gonna like rip the tank in half. It's just gonna like it's gonna hit the ice and it's crash, and it's be like people inside might die, but like it's the tank's gonna still be there. Like you have to hit that shit with the fucking missile to like blow it up. Like I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't understand. I'm not convinced. I'm still not convinced of a conspiracy here.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I think it's malarkey. I think it's.
You can't even spell that word.
I know.
Try it. Try it.
MAL.
Wrong.
R. No, I just think it was a horrible thing, and then there happened to be rich people on it.
Yeah.
And they just died. Sucks.
And they handled it horribly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. And everybody was like, they trained, but they didn't train enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all like the lookout, the captain, the crew, the lifeboats, like all that stuff.
I'm gonna go watch Titanic the movie again after this.
I just think that you guys are underestimating the vast cruelty
of mankind.
Dude. No, just like I'm not saying that I know for a fact that he did it, but I think it's totally probable. I think it's a probable thing. I mean, because like while as a race we're actually great, and like we want to succeed and like take care of our fellow man, like we love, like it's great. There are people. I mean, look what happened in Africa. Like the genocide of your own fucking people.
Yeah.
Massive
evil
genocide
in this world.
Just because you're in a fucking different tribe. You know what I'm saying? And like if they're willing to do that because you're in a different tribe, not for money, not for anything other than like fuck your tribe. Like imagine I have $1 million to go from being like I have like $17 billion. Like this like that dramatic jump up.
Yeah.
And like I'm just saying greed is a very seductive thing.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's probable just because like the seduction of money and power, because that's what I think money and power are the great poisoner of like our race. That's what causes people to do shitty things is money and power. Yeah. Obviously, it can cause you to do great things and do great things for people, which people do, which is awesome. I fully agree. But I'm not saying I believe that he did it. I'm just saying that like I can't be like, no, he didn't do it. I can't say
so
that.
I don't really get how like you go to the like we found the boat.
Yeah.
And like obviously it wasn't the Olympica.
Are you sure?
How are we sure about that?
How the fuck do you know?
Like we found the boat.
Dude, it's a boat that has been under
and it looks the same.
So what? It's the same thing. They found the chandelier.
You cannot tell the difference.
There must be a VIN number. There must be a goddamn
There's like
VIN
a
number on that
QR
thing.
code.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying, dude, I understand they found the boat. Yeah, there is a boat because a boat crashed. It happened. Yeah. But the boats are so similar, and it's been sitting in a pool of the most corrosive
like 2 miles down.
The most corrosive material on Earth, salt water. It will literally burn through anything. It will
I feel like we would have found some evidence.
Dude, if they're the same exact boat, what evidence is there? There's no evidence. They're the same boat.
There's gotta be like a.
Is there any theory that they
This was in 1911. There wasn't like
fucking the Olympica or Olympic. What's it
the
called?
Olympic.
I think it was Olympic. Yeah, it was Olympic.
Yeah,
the Olympic. Okay, so they took that and then they renovated that and made it look nice and shiny.
Yeah, but it's the sister. So like obviously like
but that was the boat that
like. Do you look like your brother? You look like your brother. You know, you got your thing. You look the same. So images, you kind of look the same.
Okay, Eric. So you're gonna tell me? Okay.
So that's my point. How do you?
I'm gonna get. You're actually making the point.
Yeah,
you're actually making his point.
Well, that's about all the show we got tonight, guys.
Tell us what you think. I'm the consummate skeptic. Yeah. Whereas I'm probably one of the 5% psychos here that like wants to believe everything.
That's why you're here.
So just to wrap it up, I do have one cool story. It's not really a conspiracy. I just thought it was a cool story. So I just want to read this real quick. It'll be our sign off here, basically. And it's the story of Charles Johan. I think I'm saying that right. I could say that wrong.
Sounds solid.
Anyways, Charles worked as a chief baker on the Titanic.
What a thug.
He was the baker.
Such an irrelevant position.
Yeah. So he led a team of 13 other bakers.
Damn, that's the
chief baking officer.
Yeah, they
CBO, bitch.
Yeah. They took care of the Titanic and they made sure that fresh bread was available, blah, 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 like croissants, all sorts of things.
Not one person's going without bread on this fucking
So
thing.
when the ship hit an iceberg on the evening of 14 April, Charles was off duty and in his bunk. And according to testimony, this is his testimony, by the way.
Did he survive?
Yes, he survived.
I was going to say, who's testifying to this?
This is his testimony. He felt the shock of the collision and immediately got up. Word was being passed down from the upper decks that officers were getting the lifeboats ready for launch. And Charles sent his 13 men up to the boat deck with provisions to the lifeboats. He sent 4 loaves of bread per baker and about 40 pounds total of bread. Charles stayed behind for a time, but then followed them, reaching the boat deck at around 12:30 a.m. Charles helped children and women get into the lifeboats, and after a while, women panicked and refused to enter them, claiming it was safer to stay aboard the Titanic, so he forcibly threw them into boats.
Oh, wow.
Also, keep in mind, this is his own story.
I was just about to say, this is another conspiracy. Like, what really happened is, like, he woke up, he was, like, drunk. He's like, fuck.
This is totally his own story, just so we know.
He fired all 13 bakers under him.
I still think he's cool as shit. So he threw some people into the boats.
He was also yoked.
He was assigned as captain of lifeboat 10, but he refused to enter and left his place for another passenger because he noticed it was already being crewed by 2 sailors and a steward. So he thought it was like fine, you know. He then decided to go back to his cabin to have a little drop of liquor.
A little drop, aka the whole bottle.
Okay.
Little drop.
So later on, years later, he would admit that a drop of liquor meant a half full tumbler.
My dude. And it was like absinthe. He's like, trying to get faded.
Yeah. So passengers then started to panic, yet Charles remained calm.
Because he was so drunk.
Semi-drunk. Yes.
I love this guy.
Yes. He started throwing wooden chairs into the water, hoping that people would be able to float on them. Use them as a flotation device.
He also threw a door.
Yes. So then Charles recalled later on that he rode the ship like an elevator and he never got his head wet. By 2:30 in the morning, he was in the water because the Titanic was under.
How the fuck did he survive?
Charles calmly paddled for 2 hours.
Calmly paddled.
Until around 4:30 a.m., he saw an upturned lifeboat with 20 people standing on top of it. He paddled towards the boat. There was no space for him, so they kicked him off.
they're like drowning him. Get the fuck off the boat.
A cook recognized him and extended his hand out. And by that time, a lifeboat came by and Charles was taken aboard. He was one of only about 8 people that were recovered from the water after that time.
Okay. I feel like this guy has maybe embellished this a little bit.
After 2 hours sitting or paddling in freezing water.
Yeah, the water's like
the
fucking
only
20
thing
degrees.
He complained about was his feet were swollen.
He's like, I'm not even cold.
So he stayed there until being saved by the Carpathia. Of all the people that went into the water, it's believed that Charles was only one of less than 10 to survive 2+ hours because the temperature of the water was 36 degrees.
Jeez. Okay, not even the temperature of the water. It's like, who can tread water for 2 fucking hours?
Yeah. So Charles,
Navy SEALs can't even do that.
So after surviving the Titanic, Charles went back to work on different ships. He also baked bread for transports during World War II.
What?
He also baked bread for the Emperor.
Yeah. He has an incredibly amazing life, and he died in 1956 at the age of 78. Anyways, I thought that was pretty cool because he then became known as the guy who drank liquor. He's the guy who became known as the guy who drank liquor that insulated him.
Little drop.
Yeah, that insulated him And there's like a whole conspiracy about like if you drink liquor, can you survive cold weather?
No.
And apparently you can't.
No, you actually die quicker because so when you drink liquor, it actually expands your blood vessels open up more, and you actually let out more heat.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So if you're in cold, it's actually you actually will get sick and die faster than someone who hasn't drank because you're actually letting more heat out of your body. And so if you're in freezing cold water, he would literally die in 10 minutes.
Not just a conspiracy podcast. We're an educational.
Yes.
That's actual fact.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought he was a cool guy. I thought it was a cool story to wrap up.
He's one of the best storytellers of our age. Yeah. That was a legendary story.
Yeah, absolutely.
A legend.
I set up 40 pounds of bread.
Yeah.
I saved children. How to stop it? I captained the ship until the 100. This guy's awesome. And then I flew the rescue plane home. Had sex with Marilyn Monroe, and then I died when I was 80.
I lived the life.
I lived the best life.
All right. Well, thank you, Charles. Appreciate you.
This one's for you, Charles.
Yeah. Well, cheers, everybody. Thanks a bunch for listening.
And tune in next time for the Chronicles of Charles.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
See ya.